So, how are you today?
I'm good.
Okay. So, what's working in the classroom? What do you feel is working?
I feel like Literacy Lab is going really well. The students are very engaged while they're working, and they really enjoy seeing and hearing about other people's work. Math Lab is also going really well. The students are really working well with the rubric, and they're finding it very easy to put together the steps of writing a math open response.
Okay. Now, I know that the last time, with the Literacy Lab, let's go back to Literacy Lab. How do they like the way in which they're annotating text with a purpose? I know that we went to a workshop together and walked out and kind of shook our heads. How do you feel that the way in which you and I worked together and tweaked how to annotate a text, how do you feel that's working?
I feel like the students are taking less time to read the text and more time to find the meaningful information. So students are reading the questions and then they're going into the text to find the answers to the questions, and that being their close reading, and that being they're making their annotations and marking which questions they're finding in the text. So they're actually making those annotations instead. And I find that they're less frustrated and they're more capable, or they're more able to find the answer quickly.
Okay. Do you see improvement in your formative assessments as you go along through?
I do see improvement.
Do you have any concerns or challenges that are going on now?
There's one student in my classroom who is continuing to give me trouble, which we've talked about before. Behaviorally, he is not on task, and he seems to become very agitated during specific points of time in the day, and we spoke before that that was about math. And as soon as it's time for math, he starts acting up and calling out and distracting other students. So I'm finding that child very difficult to work with.
And I know that, when we look at when is it time to, when I have my page 126 in December, and we were talking about when is it time to, seek extra support? Where do you go? Who can support you? I know that we had actually had a discussion around this child to try and shift this child, because it appears his trigger is mathematics when it comes to behavior issues. And with your permission, we called in the math coach, and we looked a little bit about redesigning the curriculum and redesigning, how the classroom works in math. Did it work? Did it only work for a little while with him?
As with most things with this student, it works for a little while and then it seems to fade away. So adjusting the way that the instruction was given had worked for him for maybe about a week, and then he started to go back to that disruptive behavior at the start of math lessons and throughout a math lesson. I also tried a behavior card with this student, and the behavior card seemed to be working, but it's still not what it should be. So I'm finding that I would like to do something else for this student.
Well, let's take a look at when is it time to seek additional support, and let's think about the possibilities. And one thing about this chapter, it says when you've exhausted all possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And as a teacher, you know your kids better than anyone in the world. You know when you've exhausted you've done everything but, stand on your head. So do you feel like when we look at this, do you feel that, all right, I've exhausted all possibilities, I've gone to every length to try, and I need to start looking at something else?
Well, I've gone to parent contact, and the parent is not very supportive and has asked me to not put so much attention on the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also talked to the school adjustment counselor, and that child had been seeing the school adjustment counselor, and
Okay.
that also has not seemed to help very much.
Okay.
And I'm recognizing that it isn't a common issue.
All right. So when we think about that, and we think about how hard you've worked, you have to realize that this is not your failure. This is, this is when things are not working. When do you go out and try more? When do you go and seek more? So it has everything that you have tried is everything that as a teacher I would try with a child. Contacting a math coach when I see that the trigger is there, doing behavior cards, contacting parents. You've done everything. So when I look at this and I think of all of the times that you have documented it, it says they have the number of approaches, the documentation, the behavior cards, and all of that. Have you contacted or thought about the CAT team, the curriculum advisory team?
I have thought about it, but I'm not sure what I'm supposed to bring forth to the CAT meeting, and I'm nervous that what I have won't be enough.
Okay. When you go to a CAT team, and you have to fill out the specific forms for the CAT team, and they're available online on our district website. It is very important that if you feel that mathematics is what would trigger this behavior with this child, it's important that you bring all the data that you have in relation to mathematics. What we can do is to organize, and if this is something that would be helpful, I can help you organize a data binder so that all of your students' data is easily accessible, so that when you go into any type of meeting, you can just flip to their tab. You know how our pages are tabbed where we flip to the months? Mm-hmm. It'd be the same way. It'd be set up the same way where you would flip to that child, and then you could actually speak from data about your concerns. So do you want help with
I would
the
love
CAT?
help with that.